You've probably seen them, right? Those bulging, kind of twisted veins you can get on your legs? Well, it turns out they're a lot more than just a cosmetic thing. They're actually a sign that something's up with your blood flow. So today, we're going to dive deep into the science behind varicose veins and unpack some of the most researched non-surgical treatments designed to fight back.
So here's the plan. First, we'll get to the bottom of what's actually causing the problem. Then we'll check out a really interesting herbal remedy, the horse chestnut, and its secret weapon. We'll break down exactly how it works, look at the hard evidence, see how it stacks up against some other treatments, and then, tie it all together with what it means for you.
All right, so first things first, what is actually going wrong inside our veins to cause this? Well, the medical culprit, the root of the whole problem, is a condition called chronic venous insufficiency. Okay, so picture this. Your veins have these tiny little one-way doors, right? They're called valves, and they're supposed to keep blood flowing in one direction, up towards your heart. But with chronic venous insufficiency, or CVI, these little doors get damaged. They don't close all the way, and that lets blood leak backward and start pooling in your lower legs. And all that pooling blood, it creates a ton of pressure. That's the real problem.
And you can really feel that pressure. It shows up in a bunch of ways that can make life pretty uncomfortable. We're talking swollen legs, that constant achy or heavy feeling, itchy skin, and of course the varicose veins themselves. It's really just a mechanical failure, but wow, the consequences are super real.
So what do we do about it? Well, people have been trying to figure that out for centuries. Let's take a look at one of the most well-researched herbal options out there, horse chestnut seed extract.
Now, this is not some new health fad you saw online. Nope. Horse chestnut has a super long history as a go-to remedy for CVI. But what's really cool is that modern science has actually put it under the microscope to figure out if it works, and more importantly, how it works.
So when we talk about horse chestnut extract, what we're really talking about is a specific molecule called acin. You can think of it as the powerhouse ingredient. It's a special mix of natural compounds, and scientists are pretty sure it's the reason the extract has such an impact on our veins.
Okay, so we know the key player is this thing called acin. But how does it actually get in there and fight back against CVI on a biological level? What's it doing?
I mean, it's a fair question, right? How can something from a seed really make a difference in our entire circulatory system? Well, it turns out the research points to this really fascinating, multi-pronged attack.
So acin basically wages a three-front war. First, it helps seal up all those tiny leaky blood vessels called capillaries, which is a huge deal for bringing down swelling. Second, it goes on defense and blocks the specific enzymes that are trying to break down the walls of those capillaries. And third, it actively helps the veins themselves to constrict or tighten up, which makes them way more efficient at pumping that blood back where it belongs.
And this quote from a major Cochrane Review summary just nails it. It really pulls the whole strategy together. See, it's not just doing one thing. It's this coordinated effort to protect and strengthen your whole venous system from the inside out. Pretty smart.
Okay, so that's the theory. And it sounds great. But does it actually work in the real world? Let's check out the clinical trials and see what the data says.
And the great thing about horse chestnut seed extract is that it's been put through the scientific ringer. We're not just going off of old stories here. We have solid evidence from what are called randomized controlled trials, and that's the gold standard in medical research.
And we're not talking about just one or two studies. A huge Cochrane systematic review, which is basically a study of all the other studies, was able to analyze data from 17 different trials. That is a really solid body of research. So, what did they find? Well, the results were pretty clear. As you can see here, patients who took a standard dose of the extract had a statistically significant drop in leg volume, that means less swelling, compared to the people who took a placebo. That's some powerful proof that this stuff has a real physical effect.
Now, of course, horse chestnut isn't the only player in this game. Let's widen the lens a little and look at a couple of other key treatments, a category of drugs that are often called venotonics.
So two other big ones are hydroxyethyl rutoside and Varicose. Both are based on flavonoids. Those are natural compounds in plants that are famous for their antioxidant effects. The first one, hydroxyethyl rutoside, has been used in Europe for decades and works a lot like acin. It makes your capillaries less leaky. Varicose, on the other hand, is a combo of two other flavonoids, and its big strength is fighting inflammation inside the vein walls.
So how do these things stack up against each other? Well, one really fascinating study put them head-to-head for 8 weeks, and the results were, well, they were striking. Patients taking hydroxyethylruticide said their symptoms dropped by almost 65%. The other group, taking the diosmen and hesperidin combo, only saw about a 13% decrease. Now, this is just one study, but it really shows that different compounds can have hugely different levels of effectiveness.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here, from failing valves to plant-based molecules and clinical trials, so let's just boil it all down into the most important takeaways for you.
So here's the bottom line. CVI is basically a plumbing problem. Those little one-way valves in your veins aren't working right. And while surgery is an option, there are some really powerful non-surgical ways to manage it. We've seen that horse chestnut seed extract, with its active ingredient asin, is a well-researched treatment that's actually proven to reduce swelling by making your veins stronger from the inside out. And it's not the only one. Other options like hydroxyethylruticide also show a lot of promise. The main thing to remember is that there are evidence-based, non-surgical options out there to help manage this really common and uncomfortable condition.
You know, as we see more and more high-quality research into these incredible compounds like asin, it does make you wonder, with their ability to tackle a problem from multiple angles at once, could the future of managing complex conditions like CVI lie not in a single synthetic drug, but in harnessing the amazing, complex power of plants? It's definitely something to think about. I hope you found this helpful.